Hello, everyone. My name is Ana Martha Ayala, and I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. As a reminder, I do every video in English and Spanish, and the degree theory is based on modern Western astrology using the Placidus house system. In today's video, I wanted to talk to you about the lunar eclipse that we are going to have in Pisces at 4 degrees and 50 minutes, which is the degree of Cancer, on August 28th of 2026. So you all know that the nodes of the moon have changed to the north node is in Aquarius and the south node is in Leo. But this is the second to last, right? Because eclipse in the Pisces Virgo axis. We have this eclipse, this lunar eclipse happening in Pisces, but then in February of 2027, we have one more eclipse happening in Virgo. You all know that eclipses involve karmic lessons, in this case, karmic endings, because it's a lunar eclipse, so it completes a cycle, right? And these are fated events. Listen carefully, because for those people who are born with Saturn in Virgo or Saturn in Pisces, these eclipses can bring karmic events, karmic meetings, more so than other people, right? And we're talking about a plus or minus of 3 degrees. So we're talking about Pisces at 1 degree through maybe Pisces 7 to 8 degrees, because it's 4 degrees, 50 minutes. So I'm stretching it out just a wee bit, okay? So watch the dates around August 28th, plus or minus a month. So it would have been from September 28th. No, I'm sorry. It'll from July 28th through September 28th, and see who walks out of your life. I say out because it's a lunar eclipse and it's ending something. What events are going to take place or have already taken place? God forbid, you may be let go of a job or your boss leaves, something ends, a relationship ends. All of these events are fated. So this means that you have no control over the situation. All right. I am going to show you the map of the eclipse. So you all know that I use the astro-seek.com. You go over here to the moon calendar, and I click here for the eclipses, solar and lunar, and this is what comes out. But you can click for full moons, new moons, avoid of course moons, anything, like if you wanted to do a gardening moon calendar. I really like this website because it gives you like the cycles, right? So we're here. If you click here, eclipse chart, it gives you this. This is the eclipse. This is the chart of the eclipse. All right. And then if for those of you who have not explored the website, if you click here, it gives you the astrocartography, meaning where in the world will this eclipse be seen and what areas will it affect? So this is the path of the eclipse, right? So you can see it's going to cross over Canada. I can't see really well like where, but this is like the western side of Canada. It goes all the way. Africa is going to be one of the major things, but you can see that it's going through Europe. So anyway, that's just a side note. So if you guys want to take a look at it, go ahead and see if it impacts your area. Now, you know that a full moon eclipse is when the sun is opposite to the moon, right? We have, and this eclipse is talking to like everybody's talking to each other, right? We have Uranus squaring the moon. We have Jupiter in trine to Saturn, which is a very favorable aspect. We have Mars squaring Saturn. This aspect is not good, okay? Uranus in trine to Pluto. So Uranus aspecting Pluto, it's a trine, so something easy can happen. It just flows, right? But Uranus talking to Pluto, for me, it's a concern, especially on a mundane level. Uranus in sextile to Neptune, Neptune in sextile to Pluto. So you can see that everybody is talking to each other. Now, with the Uranus in squaring the moon, your emotions can be jolted, right? Um, all of a sudden, it can be a roller coaster ride because the moon is your emotions, right? Uranus is also squaring Mercury. So this could be maybe because, Mercury is news. Uranus is unexpected news that can come in and not necessarily be good because it's a square, right? The good news is that Saturn in Aries is trining Jupiter in Leo. So if you have planets around 12, 13 degrees, plus or minus 3 degrees, then this is going to help you, right? Um, Neptune is in sextile to Pluto, so this is really good for intuition. Um, and then we have Uranus trine Pluto. And this can be an explosive situation or a sudden situation. Pluto is the planet of transformation, to put it nicely, but transformation sometimes involves death and rebirth, right? So this one, like I said, concerns me on a global level. Um, and then we have Mars here squaring Saturn. This one's a difficult aspect. So Mars is go, go, go. And Saturn says, wait, we need a plan, slow down, right? So we have, and Saturn brings, problems, difficulties, limitations. And this eclipse is also conjunct here, right? Is a fixed star of formal health. And formal health brings divine blessings. So hopefully, um, this eclipse will bring something good, but historically, eclipses are omens and they are not viewed as positive events. So, and the eclipse is on the Pisces Virgo axis. So this is the health axis. Pisces rules chronic conditions because it's the natural ruler of the 12th house. And Virgo rules like your everyday health habits, like what you eat, what your exercise program is, right? So it's asked, of course, we'll go through ascendant by ascendant, but it's going to be the overall thing is going to be health, right? So on a mundane level, we need to watch Russia and what it's going to do with Ukraine, because according to Nikola Stoyanovich, Pisces rules Russia. So, and these two, the things have been heating up again. So, because it has been on a lull because of the Iran war. So, but we can see maybe, hopefully, because this is a lunar eclipse and it's ending things, maybe we can see the Ukraine war winding down, right? Because it's a full moon eclipse. So something is ending. Let's hope and pray that, this is the case, that that war is going to be coming to an end. For China, this eclipse falls opposite their natal Saturn, which is in Virgo at 13 degrees. And it's in the seventh house. The seventh house, of course, is long-term relationships, both in business and love, but it's also open enemies. So their Saturn trines Jupiter in Capricorn at 22 degrees. And This is the degree of to kill or be killed, or simply just the Capricorn degree, which is very strategic, okay? Because Capricorn is very strategic. So I thought, because I've done other videos, that I thought that with the prior Pisces eclipse, that China was working on something secret, something, planning something with Taiwan. It turned out to be Iran, because China has been helping Iran fight the United States by giving them weapons, by sharing intelligence. So this is what has been going on. Now, for this eclipse, I think that it opens the window. So when Chiron returns to Aries, I think that China will make its move on Taiwan. Taiwan is in the picture, okay? So we'll see what happens going forward. Now, on a personal note, this lunar eclipse is in the sign of Pisces, right? So it talks about endings in your Pisces house, right? In your natal chart. So we are going to go over let me see where my wheel is. Here we go. All right, so let me see here. For Aries rising, maybe I should, no, here. For Aries rising, this eclipse, no, I got it. All right, it's been a minute here in South Florida. The heat has been so bad that and it continues. So Jupiter is in Leo, fire sign, so it expands everything. But anyway, Aries, for you, the eclipse is happening in your 12th house. So this is a very karmic house. And this can be a very karmic eclipse for you. It can bring up difficult situations surrounding maybe feelings of self-destructive behaviors, fears of inadequacy, um, fears in general. On a positive note, maybe there's uh, an ending of a therapy session, right? Where you have overcome some issue, with whatever, addictions. The 12th house is asking you to it ends a cycle. So you're going to leave something behind, right? So what are you going to leave? An addiction? Fill in the blanks, to sugar, to drugs, to alcohol, cigarettes, whatever you're addicted to. So use this energy as, constructive to try to help you end whatever is not good for you, whether it's a person, a behavior, a job, right? Just make sure that you have another job if you're going to quit your job, okay? Because the job market is very difficult, and with the AI going on, we need to secure another job before we can leave the one that we have. So, and obviously, Aries has been going through quite a bit because it has Neptune and Saturn, especially Saturn. So it may be making you feel a bit off, right? You can feel, and right now Saturn is sitting close to 14 degrees because it's going retrograde. So you might be feeling a little bit depressed, a little bit like reality has kind of hit you, and you're seeing things and they might not be to your liking, but this transit only lasts and I say we because I'm an Aries rising, right? So we have until April of 2028. So if you are between 7 and 14 degrees of Aries, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, this Saturn is hitting you hard, right? But it's not going to last forever, because in December it starts to move forward, and then it'll it'll affect the other degrees in Aries, right? Until April 2028, which then it says goodbye to Aries for the next 30 years. So hang on. All right, so Taurus. For Taurus rising, this eclipse is in your 11th house. So this has to do with friends, with groups, organizations, social clubs, goals, hopes, wishes. On a positive note, you can achieve a goal, right? Maybe this eclipse is the conclusion, right? You've got something that you want, a dream that you were hoping for, and it comes to fruition. Perhaps the organization that you belong to elects you as president. Maybe that's what you wanted. Perhaps you can find yourself not fitting into an organization or a social group or a professional group, and you just decide to leave. You just cut ties. A friend can move away. A friendship may end, or a friendship can become something else, like a boyfriend or girlfriend. So, it can be something comes to a conclusion, but it doesn't have to be detrimental. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, so Gemini. Gemini, this lunar eclipse is happening in your 10th house. So this could be a rough eclipse for you because anything that happens on the angles, right? It's either, for example, here it's squaring the ascendant, right? It's in opposition to the 4th house and it's in square to the 7th house. So this is where the eclipses are, you know, can be a little bit dicey. All right, so 10th house rules your career, your standing in society, your parents as well, because this is the 10th and 4th house are, sorry, maybe decided to knock down the microphone. So I was saying the 10th and the 4th house are the parental axis, right? So what this means is your boss can retire, you can quit a job or transfer to another department. You can be the one that gets let go, laid off, or you decide to leave your career because you want to retire. Bring It could also be that you bring a project that's going on at work to an end, like you're done with this thing, right? You're ready to present whatever computations are or whatever the project is. It depends on how the eclipse aspects your chart, right? With good aspects, you can be recognized for great work, right? With a square or opposition, you can be written up at work. So it depends. And conjunctions can be either good or bad. It depends on the planet that, if you have this eclipse conjuncting a planet, if it's Venus or Jupiter, no problem. But if it's Saturn or Mars, then, we have different things going on. If you have teenagers, be careful with having arguments with them. Same thing goes with clashes with your boss or authority figures, because we're talking about the 10th house, right? And this is not a good time to put it to the test. If you disagree with something that your supervisor says, you can voice your opinion, but just if they push back, leave it alone. Let it go. If you have a parent that whose health is not doing well, somebody that is struggling with cancer, dementia, I would suggest that you call or visit them because eclipses are known to take people away. All right. So Cancer. For Cancer, this eclipse is happening in your 9th house, which is not a bad place to have an eclipse because 9th house deals with long distance travel, spiritual beliefs, higher education, legal matters. So it could be that you're concluding a long distance trip, okay? Or maybe a legal case that comes to a close. Or maybe you get your residency or your citizenship papers, right? Something having to do with legal documents comes to a close. or your divorce comes to a close. On the negative side, which I hope that this is not your case, you decide to drop out of the university. And, you know, as an alternative, in case you guys haven't thought about, some universities offer the option of taking a semester off. You pay a small fee and, you can take the semester to think about how you're going to proceed, right? Like with the finances or with what you want to study, because any decisions that are made in an eclipse are final. So there's no going back. That's why I'm saying take your time, because once you decide it's over, it's over. So, all right. So let's take a look at Leo. For Leo rising. For Leo, this eclipse happens in your 8th house. So 8th house deals with death, sex, taxes, inheritances, money that comes in one lump sum. Like it also deals with your joint finances. There can be a death in your environment, not yours. Just you find out that somebody passed away. All right. Maybe you'll be looking to sell or close out a position in the stock market, right? Maybe move money around from stocks to a CD or something like that. It's a great time to finish your will, right? Your trust, to consult a lawyer about estate planning, right? Something that we all should be doing at whatever stage of life we are, okay? Make sure that all of your bank accounts have heirs. Maybe you're getting a tax refund, something that, because you amended your return and now the refund finally comes in. Maybe you get an insurance payout or a divorce settlement. With a romantic relationship, maybe you decide to take the relationship to the next level and be intimate with a person. So something concludes, but hopefully it's favorable. Virgo. For Virgo, the lunar eclipse happens in your 7th house. This one is a difficult one because it squares the 10th and it squares the 4th, right? So with an opposition, this can mean that if your marriage has not been doing well, right? Or you're living together with somebody, or you have a business partner that things have just been off completely for a long time, then you can get a divorce. You can sever the relationship, both in love and business, right? Because this squares the 10th house, all right? It's squaring the 10th house. You can get fired, or you can be laid off, or you decide to quit, right? This can also trigger a move because it's squaring your 4th house, right? So it can trigger a move and you need to move somewhere else. It depends on your natal chart and the aspects that it makes when this eclipse, happens. So Libra. For Libra rising. For Libra, this eclipse happens in your 6th house. So this one comes with mixed energy because this house, on a positive note, you can decide to make healthier choices with your diet, with your exercise program. Always consult your primary care physician, but it's a great time to quit smoking, to quit drugs, to quit alcohol, any bad habits that, sugar. You can just change your personal habits for the better, right? Break one of the bad habits, right? So on a good note, be careful with your pets. Well, actually, it's not a good note because you have the eclipse happening in your 6th house. So again, if you have a pet that is sick, that's very old, the pet can pass or it can run away. So be careful because I've had this happen to me where I lost 2 dogs. years ago when I had eclipses going through my sixth house. So that could be a difficult. Hopefully this is not your case, but I'm just saying. If it happens, you know that it was fated. And granted, I have my dachshund who is he's going to be 16 years old in December, and he's not doing health, he's not doing very well health-wise. So that's why I'm saying that it could be a difficult eclipse. Now, Scorpio rising. For Scorpio, this eclipse happens in your fifth house. Fifth house is romance, creative projects, hobbies, vacation, children. So you can be just concluding a vacation because for here in the US, Labor Day happens early September. So this can also mean when speaking about romance, that you can break up with your boyfriend or your girlfriend. If, again, if things have not been going well, if you guys have been arguing, a difficult situation, then the relationship can come to an end. But on the other hand, you can finish a creative project that you've been working on and you're getting ready to launch it as a business. A firstborn, if you have children, maybe something is going on with your firstborn child and it will get resolved, right? Maybe there was a discrepancy, an argument, a different point of view that you guys had, like what university, should you attend, etc., right? And it gets resolved. Also, you can find out that you're pregnant if this eclipse makes good aspects to your chart. An eclipse, an eclipse in the fifth house is not so bad. All right, because it doesn't talk to the ascendant, all that, it's not squaring it, it's not opposing it. So, it should be pretty okay. Sagittarius. Sagittarius, the eclipse is happening in your fourth house. So this again can be a rough eclipse because it's a lunar eclipse, so it's ending something, and it's on the angles of the chart. Again, the angles are the 4th, the 7th, and the 10th, right? So the fourth house rules your parents. Again, the parental axis is the 4th and the 10th. It rules your parents, family as well. It depends on, again, how the eclipses aspect your chart. This house is also a karmic house because it's the house of endings. Eighth house talks about, it describes the way that you will die. Fourth house is the house of death. It's the ending of things. So if you have a parent whose health is not doing well, someone with cancer, dementia, like really, really bad diabetes, who has just been struggling, I would suggest that you call or visit because eclipses can take people away. In this case, your parent can pass. But there's going to be some kind of ending in the fourth house. Maybe it's on a more positive side. Maybe you stop renting because you're closing on a new home or a new apartment. Or perhaps, which is the best news ever, your remodeling of your property comes to an end and you just have a great new view of where you're living. All right, so Capricorn. Capricorn, this eclipse happens in your third house, right here, in the third house. And this house rules communication, your mind, your siblings, your extended family, your aunts, uncles, cousins, your neighbors, short courses, learning something, studying something, short trips. So maybe this could be the conclusion. It could be as easy as a conclusion of a short trip, right? It just happens to end. It could be a course that you're taking for like a license, and you finish the course and you go in and you test for your license. You finish a website, um, and it's ready to be published. So you launch the website. Perhaps you have some kind of resolution with your sibling or an extended family member because there was some kind of fallout, and that situation comes to a close. Eclipses in the third house are not that bad, because it's not on the angle of your chart. For Aquarius, the eclipse happens in your second house. This second house deals with money, the things you value, right? So we're talking about Aquarius. Second house is the things you value, the things that we eat. So definitely you're going to be looking at your budget with a magnifying glass. You need to save money. You need to follow your budget or tweak it to stay on track. I mean, there's no point in making a budget and it's just going to be either an Excel spreadsheet or a paper that you don't look at and you don't follow, right? So hopefully, maybe this eclipse is having you pay off your mortgage, pay off your credit cards, making that last car payment, right? Maybe there could be an ending to a certain way that you're eating, like no more fried foods, no more junk food, no more sweets or candy or chocolate. You can also be reevaluating the things you value, right? Like, do you really need that 10th designer bag, handbag, or the 40th pair of shoes that you have? Um, you evaluate the things that you have and you think about, well, do I really need to spend this? How much do I really want this item? And then you make your decision. And this eclipse is going to help you. All right, so for Pisces. Okay, Pisces, this is a lunar eclipse. It's in your first house. So for you, this one is a big one, right? You need to be careful with falls or accidents. I find that when we have eclipses fall in our first house, that's a lot of times people fall or because they're rushing and they just trip and boom, there you go. Um, and it happens especially the fifth day after the eclipse. So be extra careful. Uh, for example, if your rising sign is close to 4 degrees, 50 minutes, plus or minus 3 degrees, be extra careful. So, and if this eclipse makes aspect to Mercury or Mars, then be extra, extra careful. Slow down, don't rush, because this is when accidents happen. So look at your third house. Where else can you? 11th house would be something high. I like when I got hit in my eye a few months ago, my the transiting Mars was aspecting my Mars in Aquarius. Something high fell and hit my eye because Mars was in Aries. So yeah. And so just be careful with falls. Um, there could be something that's coming to an end in you, a behavior, an unrealistic view of life, because Pisces tends to wear the pink glasses that and doesn't want to see reality for what it is, right? Rose-colored glasses. So this is a great time to end something like give up smoking, alcohol, drugs. It'll help you end a behavior that is not good for you that you're doing. Maybe you're binging on potato chips or something like that, right? So um, I hope that this eclipse helps you do that. All right, so with this, I conclude the video. As always, if you would like a natal chart reading with me, please send me an email to amaastrology@aol.com. Please give the video a thumbs up, share it with somebody else, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel grow. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.